Hey guys, before we get started in this video, I just want to apologize if any of the information I get this video is going to be mumbled or if I just, don't do well on my review. This is my first ever movie review that I've ever done, and I do plan on doing more in the future, but if this one does seem jumbled out of the place, I heavily apologize, because like I said, this is my first ever movie review, so if I get stuff wrong, I completely apologize about that, and if I do, just put it down in the comment section. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Yo, how's it going guys? It is JS here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day today, and welcome to my spoiler review of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. So if you guys have saw my vlog, I, of course, covered the spoiler-free portion as well as, vlogging my experience going to the theater. But I thought for today's video, let's go ahead and sit down and talk about the FNAF movie with all spoilers. So at first I wanted this video to be, a written down, type of video like what I did for the predictions video, but I thought might as well, it's probably gonna be best if, I just do like a sit down and talk type of video. And plus also too, it's more, relaxed in a way, and I can kind of talk about my thoughts, more freely and just like not, stress about it in any way. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing in today's video. Now, like I said, this video will be filled with spoilers, so if you have not seen the movie, I highly recommend you guys go jump and see it, before you even watch this video. It is out on theaters as well on Peacock, so if you guys do have a Peacock account, go ahead and go check it out. But if you guys want to experience it in full, go to the theaters and check it out. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on the review. Yeah, the FNAF movie, I saw it on Thursday, October 26th, and yeah, it was so worth it. 8 years. I definitely know I did mention in my video, like for my spoiler-free section in my vlog, that yeah, this movie was definitely worth 8 years of the wait, and I'm honestly so happy that it turned out so well. It's looking really good for the future of the film. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna go ahead and just talk about what I liked about the movie, and then talk about some of the plot and the characters and all that stuff. I absolutely loved Josh Hutcherson's, Piper Rubio's, Elizabeth Lail's, Matthew Lillard's, and every single cast member's work in this movie. It was by far, it was just really cool. I first watched Josh Hutcherson for The Bridge to Terabithia, which is a Disney movie, and then also The Hunger Games as well, but mostly The Hunger Games. So yeah, Josh Hutcherson's character, I really liked his character, especially in this. And you can definitely, of course, sympathize with his character, because dude's going through a hard time. He's trying to take care of his sister. He's trying to keep his sister so she wouldn't be taken by his aunt. And eventually, what's going to lead him into getting the job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And because of, Max's death in the movie, which I'll get into later, he knows that, like, okay, I can't leave her by herself. I gotta take her with me, and he ends up doing that. And man, you can really see how, much he progresses, in this movie and stuff. Because at first, he was really like searching, for the answers for his brother. In like a campsite, his brother got taken by a mysterious driver, and we'll also talk about as well with Vanessa's character. But with, Garrett being taken, he's been, trying to find the answers to find his brother, and because to find the answers of finding his brother. And by doing that, he's actually not caring for Abby, less and less. And that's what, really sets off the film. Basically, what's going on in this is that he is testing a theory called dream theory. And I will be talking about the other Easter eggs as well that I saw in the film, but we'll get into that in a bit. And he was using this dream theory to kind of like put on sounds of like the woods he was at, look at a poster, and then he would like fall asleep and go back to that memory of when his brother was taken, so he could figure out, what happened. And by over time of these memories, especially while he's at the pizzeria, he is, of course, is trying to find his brother. But the second night, that's when he sees the ghost kids. And eventually, with these ghost kids, he learns their secret, and they basically want Abby. That's all. They want to make Abby pretty much like them in some way. And yeah, that's basically with like their overall goal, and they manipulate him to the point where he's like, okay, I want to give up Abby so I can have, this, like I can have this memory, which is basically like a memory that he doesn't have his brother taken. And he's like, okay, I'm realizing that I messed up on this. I don't want them to take my sister. I don't want her to die. During that scene, he gets like cut up in different ways. And that's also interesting too. In like the dream sequences, he gets like cut really bad. Like for example, he gets cut on the arm by Foxy. And because of that, the scratches are actually there in real life, which I'm probably assuming is the animatronics actually doing that themselves to Josh in his sleep. And you know, of course, by, you know, the third act, he gets put in the chair, but ends up escaping. Then once he does, he gets chased down by Foxy, and then gets saved by Vanessa. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see how his character arc, you know, progressed through this film, and, you know, just seeing him like, okay, I need to take care of Abby. She's my #1 priority, and I don't want her to be taken by these robots. And that's also kind of what's also in the plot as well. He's using, a lot of people are saying the plot's too confusing. I don't know what the heck is going on, but I can kind of see on what the plot is in this case. So pretty much Mike is the older brother of Abby, and he's trying to figure out ways so that he can take care of his sister. And by doing that, he goes to a job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, but while doing that, he's also trying to find answers for the man who took his brother, which has a connection to this restaurant, and because of that, it leads to all the answers that he gets. It's kind of that plot in a way, and I'm, you know, forgiving of, you know, that aspect. It kind of like, the more I watch this movie, the more I understand this plot. I hope I explained it in some way. But yeah, that's kind of like what, you know, what the plot is. For Matthew Lillard, I grew up with the Scooby-Doo movies. I never really got into Scream at the time because I was, you know, young and not introduced to horror until, you know, like much later in the future. It took me a while to get into horror, but I'm finally, you know, actually getting to the Scream franchise very soon. Those guys were absolutely crazy. And also the kid actors as well. Piper Rubio, people who played the ghost children, those guys were incredible. Grant Freely, who is the kid whose soul possesses Golden Freddy, he did a spectacular job. And it even shows with that because he was actually Luke Skywalker in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and still then, he was absolutely fantastic in that show. The other kid actors as well, like, you know, like I mentioned, Piper Rubio and the other kids as well, they really nailed it. And also, like I said, Piper Rubio, she really was really good in this movie. And, you know, of course, you know, as, you know, the film, you know, progresses, we're kind of like, okay, think of like the mystery. Why is she, you know, seeing all these pictures of Mike's brother? Why is she drawing all, you know, the kids, like the ghost kids? Why can she see them? It's absolutely, it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. And I wonder if she has like some sort of like connection, you know, to like the ghost world and stuff in this, you know, film franchise. And it could be possible as well that, you know, she has this connection to these kids. And it's really, really interesting as well. And I also gotta mention, man, Elizabeth Lail, she was absolutely fantastic. And also her mystery behind her character was really cool. And, you know, got revealed, right, that her character, Vanessa, is William Afton's daughter. What? First, okay, this is what I first thought at first. In the beginning, you know, of the movie, whenever Mike was meeting with William, or Steve Raglan at the time, because, you know, in the books he did have like a name that wasn't, you know, William Afton. It was like a hidden name, so he wouldn't be like recognized as William Afton. In this case, it was Steve Raglan. I remember at the beginning of the movie, like whenever I first watched it, he was reading, you know, Mike's name, Mike Schmidt. And whenever he read Michael Schmidt, like he stopped at the part, and then whenever he stopped at that part, that's when he stopped and he was like looking at him, like very interestingly. Like at first I thought, okay, this guy's recognizing Mike as his son. I'm thinking this is where the route's gonna go, right? If Mike is William Afton's son, and William was like, is that my kid right there? No. That took a big 180. Apparently the reason why he recognized him was because he's the one that killed his brother. And okay. And then whenever Vanessa revealed that she was the daughter of William, big 180 twist right there. I remember in the theater, I just did like a, what? Like that type of moment, because like at first I thought that Mike was William's son, but no, it took a big 180 on that. And also to take a big 180 on that, it's so obvious that William killed Mike's brother Garrett. And you know what's even creepier? Like what's even creepier? The dude literally gave Elizabeth that plane. Dude, that is, oh my gosh, that is absolutely mind-blowing, dude. Absolutely mind-blowing. And I was like, dude, the whole entire time I was just like freaking out in the theater, like, what, dude? Like, how is this? Golly, man. Oh, so cool. So yeah, I think I covered the characters right there, and I kind of want to now, you know, kind of talk about the animatronics also as well. They nailed the animatronics. Like, they literally did so well. Jim Henson's Creature Shop did so unbelievably well, and it was all practical. No CGI included. It was all practical, and that's what made these animatronics so freaking cool. And also, Golden Freddy. I knew that that was Golden Freddy this whole entire time because, you know, they're two different entities. Now, it doesn't, you know, of course, kind of with the coloring, it's hard to tell that it is Golden Freddy at first, but once, you know, that scene transitions from, you know, Abby being in front of the pizzeria with Golden Freddy, and she heads in, sees he disappeared, and then whenever, you know, you actually see Freddy, that's like, yeah, that's Golden Freddy right there. It was Golden Freddy this whole entire time, and also in the promos as well. Oh, so cool, man. But yeah, animatronics were spectacular. I absolutely loved it. Also the kills as well. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the kills real quick. So, of course, you know, at the beginning, the security guard guy, you know, killed by like that chair, like, you know, the mask is like coming towards his face. He tries to escape, like literally, he almost got the screw loose and stuff, but it was too late for him, and his face got, you know, just screwed over. We also got the kills of the thieves as well. Carl got his face eaten by the cupcake. My God, that looked brutal. Then we had Hank, of course. I think he was getting his chest ripped open or something like that by Bonnie. I don't know what was going on, but I probably imagine like, because I do know that the novel is coming out in December, and I'm pretty sure that we're gonna get some more detail about that in the book, I'm thinking. So maybe he probably did get, you know, get his like chest torn apart or just like mangled or something. And then also Max's brother, I forgot what his name was, I'll like put it somewhere. He got killed by Foxy. Now I don't know if it was, you know, getting his face bitten, kind of like a little reference to like FNAF 2's Bite of 87 in some way. I'm pretty sure it's like the Bite of 87 from FNAF 2. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. I think, honestly, Max's kill was probably the brutalest of the entire movie. I'm not gonna lie. I think, yeah, Max's kill was probably the most brutal part of this movie. Like, she got pulled by the spirit of Freddy into his mouth, and like from the, I think it was like the waistline, or like, yeah, like the waistline, that's when, you know, Freddy chomped her in half, and all that remained in that scene was a leg. Wow, that was honestly the most brutal and shocking part of the whole entire movie. Like, me and my friend were just sitting there shocked, like, what? Like, that was the most brutal scene in that movie, I swear. That was insane. And then, of course, you know, Mary Stuart Masterson's character, also, she was really good in this film. Definitely, you know, showed a villainous side character as well, you know, with Aunt Jane and stuff. My mom did watch her in, I think, like the 80s, 90s era, I think. But yeah, she's like a brilliant actress, and she was so good in that role. And I'm pretty sure she did die by Golden Freddy. I am 100% certain. At first, I was like, okay, I don't think she died. But at the same time, I'm like, I think she did die, because we didn't like hear any mentions about her after, something like that. I'm pretty sure she did die, and like I said in the book, we will probably be getting an answer on that. So, you know, we'll see. Hey guys, Editing JS here, and I actually forgot to add this while recording this segment of the video, and that is after each of the thieves got killed during that one part, they actually got stuffed into different suits. So Carl and Max's brother did not get stuffed into a suit, but they did show the aftermath, and it was pretty brutal. But then Hank actually got stuffed into a Sparky suit, which, if you remember, that was a hoax in the first FNAF game, which is really cool to see, and I'll talk about that more later. But then after, Max actually got stuffed into a Shadow Freddy costume. So I'm pretty sure we might get more Shadow Freddy in the future, or if that's just Easter egg from, you know, the Easter eggs we saw in the game, but it could be possible that we could see more of Shadow Freddy, and maybe Max's soul will possess it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but yeah, I forgot to mention that part to you guys, so yeah. let's get back to the video. Also, while I'm at it, before I get into the Easter eggs portion, I do also want to talk about, another favorite scene of mine, and that was the Ford scene. Now, I do know a lot of people, didn't like that scene. It just felt, too, out of place from the plot, but I can kind of understand why they put it in the first place. And that's because you can really see how, innocent the animatronics are. Because, I mean, the animatronics, I'm saying that lightly, because, they literally bit Max in half. But like, if they are around people that they're comfortable with, Abby with the animatronics, and then Vanessa with the animatronics, and then eventually Abby calming them down. I had to move it to another angle because my tripod was not even working, so I apologize for that if this angle looks weird. But yeah, pretty much the reason why I think that this scene, is pretty much was fine because, the animatronics are kids and, they want to have fun and, they haven't had like that joy in a while. You can especially see like on Bonnie's face that like he's happy, and these kids, they've been stuck in this purgatory, animatronic suits for most of, their life, probably like, 20-ish years, because this film does take place in the year 2000, so they probably have been in these suits for like, over a decade, and they haven't had like the fun that they wanted because, their lives were taken, so shortly. And, they just want to have fun. And it's one of the, the most wholesome scenes out there because like, like I mentioned, they haven't even, had that fun in years. And the last time they were having fun was at the restaurant in Freddy Fazbear's. And, it is very sweet, to kind of like see that in a way. So now we're going to move on to the Easter egg portion of this video. And I do have my computer pulled up because I have, my notes that I've taken while watching, the movie for the second time, so that way I can kind of remember for, the Easter egg portion. And yeah, we have some Easter eggs to cover here. So the first one, like I mentioned, is the Dream Theory book, which of course is a reference to the Dream Theory, back for FNAF 4. The next one is the ice cream shop, which of course, if you know the logo, is pretty much the Chica's rainbow minigame that we see in FNAF World. So the next one is actually at a diner with Max and her brother, and then also Aunt Jane and her lawyer Doug. By the way, Doug W is in the chat, by the way. Put that in the comments. Doug W for sure. And they were actually at a diner called Sparky's. Now, if you guys do not know, Sparky's is of course, the Hook from Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and we'll get into that more in a second. And also with that Easter egg, MatPat also made a cameo as well, and while I mention it, Corey Kenshin has a cameo as well, which is super cool. So yeah, as I mentioned, Sparky's Diner, there's also a suit of Sparky's. So in the FNAF movie, I guess, timeline or universe, I don't know what to call it at this point, there is a actual Sparky suit. So Sparky's canon. How awesome is that, man? Yeah, and also while writing this, I did say that, as I mentioned before, the Ford scene was one of the best scenes that they did. And then another Easter egg in a storage area, there is a spring lock suit. Now, if you guys recognize the head, that is Ella from the books. Yeah, and I'm talking about this Ella. Yeah, and also this Ella right here from the trilogy. And whenever I first realized that, I was like, okay, does that look like Circus Baby? But no, whenever I was seeing, different like theories of the movie, and someone said that that was Ella, and also I watched, Dawko's video on it, that's Ella. That's Ella from the books, and oh my gosh, as a fan of the books, that made me so happy. And then, like I said, I mentioned before, the taxi driver is Corey Kenshin. And then another Easter egg is also a reference to the book trilogy, in that whenever Abby is, hiding and tries to go to the ball pit, while trying to escape Foxy, she hides behind a arcade cabinet. And that does remind me of the trilogy, because hold on, let me show you from this thing right here. Because if you guys see this scene right here, she is hiding, behind some arcade cabinets. And, we see Foxy's hook right here. And like I said, that's pretty much a nod towards the books, because that's pretty much, what she does, but she hides, like the side, but not directly behind them. But I think it's a really cool, reference and Easter egg and kind of call back to the trilogy. So yeah, that's pretty much all the Easter eggs I can, find, but of course I will get, to the other Easter eggs in a second, which I'll explain for the ending part. Also talk about the gag that was in the movie, constant BB scenes of, BB just jump scaring me, and oh my gosh, when I tell you, I jumped more to BB than the others. I mean, it's fine though. I'm fine with it. But like, I'm still salty at BB for FNAF 2. And also too, I want to add this as well, before we get into the post credits and stuff. I also want to talk about the soundtrack, more of Vanessa, and as well as the intro to the movie. So starting off with the intro with the movie, I thought it was, fantastic. And what I mean by the intro of the movie, I'm meaning like the credit scene. That credit scene was absolutely awesome. And the soundtrack that they had by the Newton Brothers, again, shout out to them. They made a amazing score for this movie, especially with the intro opening, like, oh my gosh, with the, with the kids singing. I saw like the behind the scenes of, how they were making that part. And I don't want to like play, for copyright reasons, but it was fantastic. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. It's literally titled Five Nights at Freddy's in the soundtrack, and it was spectacular. And to add with that as well, that of course, that covers the soundtrack portion. With the opening portion of this movie, it literally was so fantastic. It was showing the missing children, or like the mention of the missing children incident, and that's also kind of covered my predictions as well. Now of course I didn't get the Hank and the gang scene correct. I did not get that correct at all. I also didn't get the mall opening correct, but I did end up kind of calling the post-credit-ish part a bit, and also the ending part of the movie with spring locks. At this point I called the spring locks, I called it. And then also I called that they were going to have a mention of the missing children incident. So that's just mind-blowing to me. That's just absolutely mind-blowing to me. And of course I'll cover, the spring lock incident in a bit. But yeah, that part was just crazy. But yeah, I kind of want to also, talk about more about Elizabeth Lail, and also, I'll talk about Matthew Lillard during, the ending scene as well. Elizabeth Lail's character, like I mentioned, is probably one of also the most mysterious characters in this movie. Now I do know that she was, of course, vague, and that's definitely a part, that not a lot of people like, but I understand why her character was vague, and she did not want to scare Mike off. Because if Mike knew about what was going on, especially with Vanessa, he would not trust her as much as he did, and their relationship would be, bad off the start. Like, if Vanessa came in, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, just letting you know, I'm the daughter of Afton, and I helped out with this, I don't think he would have trusted her right away. And I think with him trusting her, especially, with whenever she saved him after, Foxy and getting, tied to that chair, that's when I think really Mike started to, kind of trust her in some way. I mean, it took him a little bit because he knew that she was helping William, kill all these kids, especially, his brother Garrett, and he has a reason to be upset because the man that he was seeing was Steve Raglan, William Afton, taking his brother. And of course he has a right to be reasoned, especially with the daughter and stuff, but like he finally was like, okay, I need her to help with me. She knows what's best, and probably end her father's destructive ways, pretty much. But yeah, I really liked Vanessa's arc and stuff with this movie. It was really good. So I think I got those parts covered, but what I really want to cover is the ending and the post-credit parts of this movie. All right, so now let's go ahead and get to the ending portion, like the actual ending of the movie. Pretty much what happens is whenever Abby is taken to the pizzeria by Golden Freddy, she is, of course, taken to the stage. What she doesn't know is that Chica is, taking her to, the back room where the Ella Spring lock suit is. And, Abby still trusting them at first, doesn't know what, what's going on and stuff. Chica picks her up and then tries to place her into the spring lock. And Abby's like, okay, yeah, this is not what, what's going on and stuff. I'm very, concerned about this. And Mike, on the other hand, after learning of, what happened, he, rushes over there with Vanessa's car and, learns that he has to stun the animatronics. And, I forgot to add that in the Easter egg portion. It kind of reminds me of like the controlled shock portion in Sister Location. Kind of reminded me of that in some way because it stops them for like a temporary moment. And, he does that, with Freddy and Bonnie as well as Chica trying to save Abby. And while they're heading to the main, dining room area, the cupcake is there waiting for him and, tries to chomp, on Mike's leg. And this point, Mike is badly injured. And like I mentioned from like the last dream sequence, he got basically cut up by, the animatronics. And he's like scratches all over the place and he's he's pretty, you know, looking bad at this point, especially, you know, even more bad with his leg being chomped by the cupcake. But then also he does stop the cupcake by shocking it with like a stick shocker. And then, like I mentioned, with the arcade portion where Abby is trying, you know, trying to hide from Foxy, she goes into the ball pit after she evades Foxy while hiding behind the arcade, and she hides in the ball pit for a while. But then while Foxy, you know, is looking for her, he gets shocked by Vanessa, who actually ends up going there in the first place, because I think the reason why she didn't want to go there in the first place was I think she was more so afraid of confronting her dad. And I mean, I would be too. I would be afraid of, you know, if, you know, my father was William, who, you know, did all these terrible stuff, and, you know, confronting him, and that would be terrifying. But I think she was like, at that moment, all right, that's enough, I'm done with this. And then basically after that, Vanessa's gonna go help Mike. Now, this is the part where I think is honestly my second, actually no, it's my favorite portion of the whole movie, and that is the entrance of Spring Bonnie. Like, whenever I saw that scene, I got chills in my arms because of how freaking terrifying Spring Bonnie was. Like, dude's like, just like, oh my god, it was so cool. And then, like I said, you know, his entrance was terrifying. Then he like strained up in some way. Mike tried to shock him, but no. William was just like, and just pushes Mike, and okay. And then like the lines he gives right after is so freaking cool. He's basically saying, first I kill your brother, now I kill you. Symmetry, my friend. That was so freaking like crazy. And then William just goes laughing and just kicks Mike in the face and knocks him out. Like, boy, what are you doing, William? And then straight up after that, William goes, wake up, children, and then makes this freaking insane monologue. It's like, the little one, or I think he's basically saying like, the little ones tell me you have a sister, she will fit in perfectly here. And he has a knife, literally like Stu Macher in Scream. Now I have, you know, seen that scene in Scream. He literally does that like Ghostface, and oh my god, references and the details are just insane. But then Vanessa steps in and she's like, I had enough of this, Dad. And, you know, William takes off the mask, and Matthew Lillard's face and acting is just so good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Matthew Lillard is so talented. Like, no matter what movie he is in, Matthew Lillard kicks it. Like, he is so good. And he's like, you had one job, leave him in the dark and kill him if you got too close or something like that. And then Vanessa pops in, that's 2 jobs. Basically like what Mike did with, you know, with him earlier in the movie, and that, I think that really made him snap, and he, you know, was grabbing her. But then whenever William was looking at what Abby was doing, which I'll get into in a second, he lets go of Vanessa, and then whenever Vanessa grabs him, saying, I won't let you hurt her too, bro just stabs his own daughter. Like, I knew he was a bad guy, but my golly, dude. William, why? And then I'm pretty sure that guy's had a face of remorse. Like, I regret that. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm pretty sure he had that face, and my gosh, that was just so powerful. And then also, let me explain this as well. So pretty much while all this is going on, Mike, of course, you know, wakes up from getting knocked out by William, and pretty much he tells Abby to draw a picture to kind of represent that William, the yellow rabbit, pretty much hurt her friends, like hurt all the animatronics. She draws that, pins it on the wall, and that's when everything goes haywire. My gosh, this, like, you know, the whole sequence is, you know, of course, like I said, my favorite part of this movie, and it gets even better with right here. When the light flashes on William, like without his mask, and you know, like I said, he's in like full Spring Bonnie outfit, and plus also too, there's some decayed parts. The animatronics do a whole 180. They go from being on his side to basically turning on him and basically making them their enemy and stuff. And that's also what's like really interesting too, is like there's like, you know, like I said with the picture, I'm pretty sure there's like some paranormal type of, you know, stuff going on here, and like connections to the pizzeria, because once Abby sticks out to the wall and whenever Mike turns on the generator, that's when things, you know, start, you know, going haywire around the pizzeria. and it, you know, causes like crash later on. So whenever, you know, Mike does that, of course, you know, like I said, the lights all go on William's face, and he's like, brings like a whole monologue, you know, trying to make, you know, the animatronics feel small, but I think they had enough, and the cupcake gets him on the side, like on the side of the chest, and bites him. And when I say I freaked out, I freaked out. The spring locks activate, and whenever I was there, I was like, I knew it, dude. I absolutely knew it, and I figured they were gonna do the spring lock scene in the first place, but I knew it, that they were gonna do it, and my golly, it was epic. Now, I do know that, you know, of course, there's not a lot, you know, not a lot of blood, but I think it's more the impact that matters on both William as well as the robots, because the robots, they're seeing this man basically, you know, getting crushed, and they're finally having their revenge. And, you know, William, on the other hand, you know, he's, you know, getting spring locked, you know, and while that happens, he's like, he grabs the mask and says the infamous line that made me go crazy. He had the helmet above his head, he said, I always come back, puts it on, and oh my gosh, it was so epic, dude. It was so epic. And then whenever, you know, he's just flat on the ground, Foxy grabs him, and the animatronics just take him away to the back room, and then Freddy lets out this incredible scream, man. It's just incredible. And like I said, that's literally my favorite portion of the movie. And then of course it ends with Mike and Abby, and also that she's, you know, doing well in school and stuff. But, you know, at first, you know, she wasn't, you know, talking to any of the students, but now she, you know, she's grown comfortable and, you know, is making friends, which is really, really sweet. And I love that, you know, love that ending. You know, visiting, you know, Vanessa in the hospital. She's in a coma because of her injuries from the stab wound that William gave her. And then while, of course, you know, they're at the house, you know, they're having their spaghetti, and it looks like a little happy ending, but there's more. There's more until we get back to the pizzeria. Basically, William is in the back area, just like absolutely struggling with the spring locks, and he sees the ghost of the kid, tries to reach out to him. Now, I think he's like reaching out for help and like maybe like an I'm sorry type of way, but the blonde boy, which is also the spirit of Golden Freddy, was like, nope, I'm not doing this, goodbye, closes the door on William, cuts to black. And then after that, the Living Tombstones remix of Five Nights at Freddy's plays on, and I freaked out. It was absolutely spectacular, and I think like, and yeah, that's pretty much the ending of the movie. And like I said, that's literally my favorite scene from the whole movie. And then now let's go ahead and talk about the post credits. So in the post credits, like actual scene, you know, we see Corey, you know, sleeping in the car. He hears like the door open, he's like, not now, and he sees the Balloon Boy toy, you know, the Balloon Boy toy gag that we had in the movie, and it scares him. It's a funny and, you know, little credit scene. And then the ending part, amazing. So during that, we hear the grandfather's clock. You know what that's related to? The puppet. Now, I did say that I thought the puppet was, you know, going to be shown like the actual the puppet's music box. I think that prediction that I had was kind of right, and you'll see why in a second. Now, the reason why I think Yuri was kind of correct was because, you know, like I said, they played the grandfather's clock, which is a music box theme for the puppet. And yeah, that's literally hinting towards the next movie. And I'm thinking that the puppet is going to be in the next movie, and it's highly likely. And I'm also thinking that, you know, the Wizards are also going to be in the movie as well, that they are going to tie in some of FNAF 2 stuff as well, because they tied in FNAF 1's kind of story into the first movie, and I think they're going to do that with FNAF 2. So what they might have is, you know, like I said, the puppet, and, you know, probably animatronics being withered. I imagine what they look like in FNAF 2 as well. And then also, I imagine the toys. Dude, I think the toys in live action is probably going to be the coolest thing. Actually, honestly, I think, in my opinion, the marionette is probably going to be the best thing that we're going to see for the second movie. So yeah, the grandfather's clock, and also too, at the end of this movie, if you remember in the FNAF 2 mini game, if you die, you hear like the words, you know, save them being spelled. Like, here's an example. So yeah, that's the example, but this time it's different and in the same tone as well. COMEFINDME. Come find me. Now, a lot of people are referencing that could be Garrett, and I'm possibly thinking that it is the case, but we'll see. And it's leading on to the next movie, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, with all that being said, I probably, bored you guys at this point. But yeah, that's pretty much, my thoughts on the characters, talking about, the ending and the post-credits, kind of explaining that a bit, and, talking about the plot, talking about the actors. I think it's time to tell you guys my full, review of the film. And, like I mentioned, I love this movie, and as a FNAF fan, I'm really happy. And I grew up with the games back in 2014. I was there at the very beginning and stuff. And, just seeing something that finally happened all these years later, it's just absolutely crazy. And, 11, 12-year-old self would not be believing me right now. But, yeah, I'm happy with this. And with that, I literally gave it 10 out of 10 and 5 out of 5 stars. This movie was worth it. And I'm very happy. And I cannot wait to, experience, the soundtrack on, my vinyl player, watch the movie on Blu-ray, and they actually do have that ready to, pre-order on Amazon. And yeah, just overall, I'm excited. And hopefully, you guys will see the FNAF poster somewhere in my room, because I heard that was out somewhere, and I want to get that poster. So yeah, I can't wait for that. And also the book as well. I'm really excited to see what the book has to offer. And I definitely will be covering that as well, to kind of talk about, the differences between each of the scenes, and also, talk about, some of the details that, weren't fully explained, but it's going to help with that a lot. And I'm really excited. So yeah, like I said, 10 out of 10 and 5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. I'm a happy FNAF fan. I loved it. And I cannot wait for the second movie. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Of your guys' thoughts of the FNAF movie. Did you like it? Did you didn't like it? And hey, it's okay. Everyone's opinion here is valid and respected. And whatever you thought of the movie is totally okay. Yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you guys did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe for more videos. Can't wait to see what they do for the second movie.